Welcome back. So where we left off is we just finished inserting our navigation list, and you'll see here that at the end of our last video, this is where we left off with checking out how our list turned out. But we want to make sure that we turn this into a horizontal navigation menu, and for it to look and function like a navigation menu. So I'm going to tab over to Firefox real quick and show you where we're at. We're going to start with 4.3, and we're actually going to do we're going to take care of both the styling the navigation list and the navigation links in one video. So I'm going to toggle back over to Dreamweaver here, and we're going to jump back into code view. And before we get to styling this list, first want to take a look at the three elements that we need to add styling to. You'll notice that, remember, we started off with a UL tag, and that indicates that we are using an unordered list style list, which means it's bulleted. And then each one of these lines has two tags within them. We have an LI tag, and then we have an A element, which gives us our link. We'll do the bulk of our styling on the A element, but there's a couple of things we need to do to the UL and the LI elements. So we're going to jump over to our style sheet, Portfolio Main CSS, and I'm going to scroll down to find where our navbar section starts. It's a good idea that as we start creating additional styles for each of our sections, that you keep your styling together. After navbar, I'm going to on my line, I have line 31 here. I'm going to hit the enter return key, and that's where I'm going to start my next line of styling for the navbar. And we're actually going to start with that ID in navbar. And the reason why we want to keep it together is so that later on, if you need to go back and change something, it's all together and you know where it's at, as opposed to, say, like down here underneath the footer, trying to find where you might have put something is a little bit difficult. So you want to stay organized. So on line 33, we're going to start with how the tags go in order. So I'm going to pop back over to our source code real quick, and if you remember here, here's our structure. We have our div ID navbar, so everything's going to be inside of that. We're going to start with the ID navbar, and then we're going to start with the UL tag, and then we're going to move on to the LI tag, and then finally we'll move on to the A tag. Okay, so I'm going to toggle back over to our portfolio main style sheet. I'm going to type in the hashtag, and I'm going to type in navbar, and then I'm going to hit the space bar, and then type in UL. So I have hashtag navbar UL. Then I'm going to open up, I'm going to open up a curly brace and hit the enter return key. Now the only thing that we're going to do here with the UL tag is we're going to get rid of the bullet points because we don't need them. And so to do that, I'm going to type in list, and you'll notice that as soon as I type in list, right at the top is what's called list style. You'll notice that there's some other options, but what I want is the list style. So I'm going to hit the enter return key to finish that out, and we want to just say none because we don't want any bullet points whatsoever. And then I'm going to hit the enter return key and then hit the right curly brace. So I'm going to pop back over to source code here and then click on the design. You'll notice that my bullet points went away. Okay. Next is the LI tag. And what we're going to do with the LI tag is we're going to change the way our list displays. Right now it's displayed vertical, and we want to display it horizontal. So I'm going to pop back over to code and then pop back over to my CSS style sheet. And so underneath the last one that I just made, which was the hashtag navbar UL, on line 35 where my cursor is, after that closing curly brace, I'm going to hit the enter return key so that I'm on line 37. And I'm going to type in the hashtag navbar once again, but this time I'm going to type in ULLI. And I'm just doing this to be really specific. So you'll notice that I have, and if you think about how that order flows, right? We're in the navbar ID inside of the unordered list, and now I'm targeting each of those list items. Okay? And I'm going to open up a curly brace and hit the enter return key, so I'm dropping down a line there. And so to create that horizontal effect, there's a property in CSS called float, and this allows you to position elements next to each other. And this wasn't always possible. It took CSS2 in order to make that happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in float and hit the enter return key there, and then type in left. Now you might be wondering, well, why are we doing left if all those list items are going to float to the right of each other? Well, it kind of works backwards, believe it or not. If we were to float it right, the list style would actually float. The list items would float in reverse order, I believe. But by floating it left, we're just saying, okay, go to the left of the next item, go to the left of the item next to it. So each list item is going to go to the left of the one next to it, if that makes sense. So that's all we're going to do there. So we're going to hit enter return and then close that out with the right curly brace. So let's check out, see what we got. Source code, design, and you notice here, there we go. Now mine, you'll notice that career exploration ended up stacked one on top of each other, and if you notice that I had a little bit of a ghost there, and I'm trying to bring it up, there it is. So you notice that that box there is kind of somewhat of an outline after each one of those. If you click on live view, it should put all of those in order like that. For some reason, when Dreamweaver renders it in design view, it stacks two words on top of each other sometimes. So you should see it all in one line across. So get out of live view and select design up there. And then what we want to do next is we want to make sure that these A elements look better. Right now they just kind of look plain and obviously not very visible, and we want to make them actually look like buttons. So we're going to take care of that right now. So switch over to the code view, and then so we're going to be styling the A element next, and so click on our CSS style sheet, and again after the navbar UL li style there on line 39, right after my curly brace, my closing curly brace, I'm going to hit the enter return key a couple times. So now I'm on line 41. I'm going to type in navbar once again, and I'm going to continue on with being uber specific. So I'm going to type in UL li and then A. So we're just going right in order, right? A is inside of the li tags, which is inside of the ul element, which is inside the id navbar. So at the end of my A tag, I hit the spacebar there and then open up a curly brace. And then I'm going to hit the enter return key once. And so we have quite a bit of styling to do with this list, this A element. For one thing, we want to add some padding. We want to change the font a little bit, and we're going to add a border. So we're going to add quite a few things here. And I'll stop, and we'll kind of halfway through we'll check out what's going on here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do some padding. And the reason why we're going to do some padding is so that it positions our text a little bit better within that bar and gives it more of a a button type feel. So I'm going to hit the enter return key, and I have some values already that I've tried. You may have to play around with some of these values depending on the type of font that you used from the very beginning. So don't be shy in terms of maybe changing the top or bottom padding value by a pixel or so to make it work right, and we'll come back and see if that is the case when we finish this one. So we're going to do the top value, and we're going to do this in shorthand, so you notice that I just have padding itself. So we're going to do the top value first. So the first value is always the top value, and we're going to do 2 pixels, and then I'm going to hit the space bar, and then we're going to do the right value, which is always the second one, and this one is going to be 7 pixels. And then the bottom value we're going to do is 3 pixels, and then the left value we're going to go back to doing 7 pixels. So our left and right values are the same, our top and bottom are slightly different. And then make sure you end that line with a semicolon. Next I'm going to hit the enter return key, And I'm going to start changing some of the font properties. So the first one I'm going to do is change the font size. So I'm going to type in font, and then from my list I'm going to select font size and hit the enter return key. I'm going to go ahead and go with 16 pixels here. That's going to be about right for the nav bar that we've created. Later on, if you want to change, the whole nav bar look, you're more than welcome to, and you should have the tools to be able to do so. Next, I'm going to add a font weight to this, so I'm going to make it bold. So I'm going to hit enter return, and I'm going to type in font weight and hit the enter return key once I select that, and then type in bold. You'll notice that there's some values, and then there's also bold and bolder. Hit the enter return key there, and then make sure that you end that statement with a semicolon. Next, I'm going to hit the enter return key one more time, and we're going to change the color of this link. So I'm just going to type in color, and you notice that color comes up. Now remember, with font color, it's not font dash color, it's just color. I hit the enter return key here, and I'm just going to do white right off the bat. So I'm just going to type in the hashtag FFF for the shorthand. You're welcome to change or pick your own color if you'd like. And then end that statement with a semicolon. And then next we're going to hit the enter return key one more time, and we're going to type in text. And here is where we're going to eliminate the underline. The default the A element has a default property of underline, so we're going to eliminate that. So we need to select text decoration, third option there, and then type in none, and then end that with a semicolon. So at this point, I kind of want to see how things are going, just to see where we're at, and to take a minute here to pause to see how it's shaping up. But before I do that, I want to make sure that I close this series of styling with a right curly brace. So I'm going to hit the enter return key and then close this out with a right curly brace. Okay, so that I don't have that red indicator telling me that I'm missing a key symbol there. Okay. Then I'm going to pop over to my source code and then click on the design view, and what you'll see here is you'll notice that, man, this is starting to shape up. This really looks like a navigation menu now. It's nice and bold, easy to read, it's bigger, the spacing looks pretty good, but it's still not quite right. Like, we want it to look more like it has buttons. And we're going to do that with 3 more lines of styling. So we're going to pop back over to my CSS style sheet and click on code there so I can get out of the split view. You might work better in split view for some of you. What's nice is it'll often show you what you're working on while you're typing in your styling. But for this tutorial, I'm going to stay in just code view. So pop back over there, and I apologize for the email notification. So we're still in the A element here, so I want to make sure that I don't go outside of my curly brace. I want to stay within this section, so I need to place my cursor after that last line of styling on line 46 where I had text decoration is none. So I'm going to place my cursor right after that semicolon there, and then I'm going to hit the enter return key. And then here I'm going to create, I'm going to tell the button, or tell my element to display a little bit differently than it normally does. I want it to display and fill out that whole space that I've created for it. So to do that, I'm going to say display block. Okay, and I'm just going to briefly toggle over for just a sec. Go ahead and go into split. So when you select this now, you should see the like a full outline in the render view. Okay, and if I click over to live view here, that'll actually look a little bit different. All right, now I can already see that we're going to have to change some of our padding on the top there, because for some reason it's getting it's kind of like going up towards the top. So I want to change that a little bit, but we'll mess with that in just a minute. So I'm going to click back to design and then get out of split view, go back to code there. So right after where it says display block, I'm going to hit the enter return key, and we're going to add a border, but we're only going to add a border on the top, and we're only going to add a border on the right. So we're going to do 2 lines of styling here. Can't do it shorthand this time. So we're going to type in border, and you'll notice that there are tons of border options. So you can select all the way down and just select border right that way, or you can finish typing it out, hyphen border right, and then that'll narrow down your list a little bit, whatever works for you. So I'm going to select border right, and we're going to do the styling of this shorthand, and we're just going to do a 1 pixel solid black, oh no, I'm sorry, not black, light gray border. So you should see this line, border right, 1 pixel space, solid space, hashtag light gray, which is CCC. Okay? And we're going to do the same thing for the border on the top. So I'm going to hit the enter return key and type in border top. Okay? And do 1 pixel solid number CCC. Same thing. Okay. Now the reason why we've only done the top and the right is because we don't want to add additional border lines to the left or to the bottom, because we already have some of those things in place, and it would just add to the thickness of what's already there. But we want to create the look of the button, and by just putting a border on the right and a border on the top, it'll give us that look. So I'll show you what I mean here. Click on source code, back to design, and then click on, we'll select live view. So you can tell that my navigation list is pushed up a little bit up there on the top, and I want it to come down just a little bit more, so that that padding 2 pixels that I initially put at the top is not enough. I'm going to have to push it down just a little bit. So I'm going to go back to my code view there, and I'm actually going to go ahead and split this so that we can see what's going on. And I'm going to scroll down there and find my navbar ULLIA, and at the top there, that's where I'm looking for, is the padding there on the top. So let's see here. Oh, that value got changed, so we're going to change that to 3. Actually, we want to change this back down to 1, and then change the top. We want to change that to 4. So see, you'll notice that it's going to push it down a little bit. For some reason, our border on the top is not showing up correctly, and I think we'll just have to roll with it for now. We have the border on the right, which is the important one. We do kind of have that division up there on the top. It could be just the way the image is displaying over the top there. That's the reason why it's not showing up. You should, your lines, your border on the right, this is why we were adjusting the padding, so that the border on the right fills that entire space. And you're going to see that there might be just a little bit of a gap there between the bottom border and the right border. And if we make it any more, if we say we increase that value there, it looks like it's going to meet together there. But if you go to live view, it looks like it's still okay. But if we were to preview this in a browser, so I'm going to go ahead and file, save all real quick, and then come down here and select preview in Firefox. What you might see is the lines, the border on the right, come just below and over the top of the border that we have on the bottom. So we want to avoid that. So I'm going to toggle back over to Dreamweaver, Control Tab on your keyboard, Command Tab on mine. And I'm going to switch back over to code there, and I'm going to switch this value back to the 4 pixels that I had on the top, and then leave the one on the bottom at 1 pixels. Next, we want to actually give our navbar some like user interaction. So when the user hovers over with their mouse over the navbar button, something happens, and we're going to do that by adding what's called a pseudo class to the A element. And all we're going to do is we're just basically going to change the background and the color of this button. So I'm going to place my cursor right after the closing bracket on line 50 for me, right underneath our navbar UL LA LIA style, and hit the enter return key a couple more times so I'm on line 52. And I'm going to type in nav bar again, and we're going ULLIA, same thing as we did up above, but instead we're going to add what's called the pseudo class hover. And to do that, I'm going to type in a colon directly after the A, no space, and then type in hover. So what this is saying is that when somebody hovers on this element, it's going to do something. Okay, it's going to change something. So we're going to open this up with the curly brace and hit the enter return key. And here all we're going to do is we're just going to change the background color. So I'm going to go ahead and type in VA and then select background from my list. And then I'm going to change the color. I'm going to go with say like a medium. I'm going to go with a medium gray. So that's a 666 there. Maybe that's 2. Let's go 999. Yeah, there we go. A little more medium there. Okay, so we're going to go with 999 and in that line with a semicolon, and then hit the enter return key one more time, and then we're going to type in color, and this is going to change the font color, remember. So right now our font color is white. So with the gray background, or the light gray background, we should probably do something bright, maybe like yellow or red, or we could even say change our background color to something lighter and then go with say like a dark black, you know, for our link color. I'm going to go ahead and leave. I'm going to do something a little bit different, and I'm just going to go ahead and leave with that gray color, and then I'm going to type in or select color here, and then type in my pound symbol, and I'm going to use my color picker over here on the right hand side, and I'm going to go ahead and select a orange color. So I want to find kind of a nice bright orange. Let's try that right there. That looks pretty good. So I'm just going to put that right in there. We're going to go all the way to the top there so it's the brightest we can get, and then hit the enter return key, and then end that statement with a semicolon, and then hit the enter return key one more time, and then right curly brace. Okay, so all of our little red indicators right here on the left hand side should go away. So we want to check out how this looks. So I'm going to toggle split view here, and I'm still in live view up here. So when I hover over there, you should see that the background changes slightly to that light gray that we selected earlier, and then our text color changes to an orange. If we want to see how this looks in a browser, just make sure you hit go to File and Save All, and then down here where you have the little globe icon, select Preview in Firefox, and again we're there, boom, and so the whole background color should fill out that space. If it goes over a little bit and goes into the, say, that border onto the next section, then you probably need to adjust some of your padding. So that's it for the styling the navigation menu. Next, in our next tutorial, we are going to create all of our pages for the whole portfolio, and then following that we will link our navigation menu to each of those pages.